Hey, what's going on, guys? This is TheWalkthroughKing, and in this video I have a complete guide on how to do the Tortured Path Easter egg. Now for this Easter egg, it's kind of interesting. You have to go through, and if you want to unlock the ending cutscene, you have to do each map in order without fail, and currently you can only do that through their public playlist search, so you're going to have 3 others that you know, otherwise you have a chance of getting randoms who might not know how to do this and end up messing up some of the steps or going too far into the game. And you don't want that, as this Easter egg is very specific and you have to do as much as you can in each round since you only have 10 rounds, and some of the steps require a round skip. With that in mind, if you are just trying to do one of the Easter eggs and not go through all of them to see the cutscene, you can do each of the Easter eggs in a custom game and you don't have to have all 4 players. But if you are trying to get the cutscene, you have to do it through the public playlist currently. I'm sure Sledgehammer will change that up at some point, but that is just the way it is right now at the time of this upload. And I would also be checking out the description, as I will have timestamps for each of the maps. So if you're just looking to see one map's Easter egg, you can skip to that map without having to skim through the video, as well as any updates or anything I missed in this guide I will also have in the description. So let's get right into this and start out with Chapter 1's Easter egg. So one thing I want to point out real quick is that the Easter eggs have to be done through the challenge version of the map. And why I'm saying this is because the survival versions of the maps were locked until the Easter egg was completed, but now that it's been completed and known, Cameron Dayton has said that the survival versions will end up being unlocked for everybody at some point. So I know some of you will end up watching this video with those already unlocked. This Easter egg, as far as I know, can only be completed through the challenge version of the map. And since the challenge version of the map only goes to round 10, before you have to evac out of the area, this makes it so you have to maximize doing as many steps as possible before going on to the next round. So do not end a round unless I end up saying so. And I will try to remind you guys as we go when to end a round and when not to as well. That way you can maximize doing as many steps as possible on the earliest rounds and guarantee that you will complete this Easter egg before getting screwed over by getting to the boss round. Because once you hit the round 9 mark, you basically do not have enough time to do a step in the round and complete the challenge before you fail. So we don't want to get to those high rounds without having the steps completed, as you really will not realistically have that much time to complete the steps once you get to round 9, as you have to complete the objective and then the boss comes right after and you're pretty limited in what you can do then. So with that in mind, let's get right into Chapter 1 now. Starting out on round 1, we are going to be doing a few steps here. The first thing we are going to be doing is collecting a body. This body was split into 5 pieces. There's a head, a torso, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Each body part has multiple locations. I will go through every single location that is known right now, and if any new locations are found after this is uploaded, I will be updating them in the description. Starting with the head locations, one of them can be found on top of the bookshelf in this house. Another one can be found at the back of the truck that is right next to Quick Revive. Another location is inside the kitchen sink in a pot in the wine house. A 4th location could be found in the SMG Wallby house inside of the bookshelf that is broken apart and laying on the floor to the left of the fireplace. A 5th location is on the fence right outside of the windmill. Once you have the head picked up, we are now going to be moving on to finding the torso. One torso location can be found inside the wine house in one of the main fireplaces. Another location is in the windowsill of the windmill, right above the Pack-a-Punch. Another location is inside this wheelbarrow. Another location can be found inside of this crate to the left of the sniper wallby. The last location can be found on this overturned cart. Moving on to the leg, one location is right across from the SMG wallby. Another location can be found in the same house in the hole in the wall. Another one can be found in this hanging flower pot. Another location is in the hanging flower pot that is to the left of the sniper walleye. Another location is right next to the bush that is in the hole in the fence. Another spot is on the side of this blue truck. A 7th spot is in the wine rack. An 8th spot is on top of the fence right above the tomatoes. 9th spot can be found in the ceiling. And the 10th spot can be found under the bench to the left of Pack-a-Punch. Moving on to collecting the arms, one location is inside the wine cellar. The 2nd spot is in the fireplace inside the SMG house. 3rd spot is on top of the stack of wood. A 4th spot is inside of the fireplace that is going. A 5th spot can be found to the right of the fireplace that is going. A 6th spot is right outside the windmill on top of a stack of canned goods. 7th spot is to the right of stamina. The 8th spot is by this fence. The 9th spot is hanging on to this basket. And the 10th spot is inside the flower bed to the left of the sniper walleye. Once you have a head, a torso, 2 arms, and 2 legs, we are then going to be moving on to the rope step. For this step, you simply go outside the windmill area, look at the tree that has the rope hanging from it, and shoot the rope out of the tree. Once you have done all of that, then we have done all the steps that we could do at this round. We are then ready to move on to round 2. On round 2, all you have to do is simply go to the tree that can be seen on the other side of the fence by the river. You're going to want to hold square or your platform's action button until the tree fully comes out of the water and up to you. Then simply just grab the rope out of the tree, and that is it for that step. We now have to round skip again and move on to round 3. On round 3, and you can do this on round 4 if the challenge is difficult for round 3, don't worry about rushing this. A pod will fall out of the sky and land near the tank at spawn. You want to go and pick up a rod that is in the tank and a rod that is in the cow. Now we need to get a Whistling's arm, and Whistlings only spawn in on round 5, so we're going to have to move on to round 5. There are 2 ways to get the Whistling's arm. One is by random drop chance of killing one. The other method, as shown, is getting a Whistling to charge into another Whistling. Once you see the arm dropped, simply just go and pick it up. For the windmill step, we are going to be placing the Whistling's arm in the cogs of the windmill to stop it. You are going to want to stop the windmill so the longest arm is facing completely down like shown. Then you simply just run up to it and place all of the body parts, the rods, and the rope onto the windmill. Then once our zombie friend is placed onto the windmill, you are going to send him straight up so that the windmill arm that he is on is straight into the air. Once you have him so he is all the way up there, then we are ready to move on to the next round. At the beginning of the next round, he will get struck by lightning and become one whole body, and he will fall and land straight down in front of the windmill. Now what we are doing basically is getting kills near him to charge him up. The more kills you get when he wakes up, the faster he will move. Depending on if you got here during round 6, it'll be a challenge round, so it may be difficult to get kills near him while worrying about the challenge as well. So you may want to time it so that he is struck down by round 7. In our game, luckily we got a challenge so that we were able to get kills near him during round 6. And basically you're going to get as many kills as you can throughout the round, as at the start of the next round he will wake up. Once he is woken up, you're going to have to escort him to a location. He doesn't take a lot of damage, so you have to be very careful about zombies getting near him, especially looking out for the bomber zombies, as well as if you explode a bomb near him, he can instantly die. And once this zombie dies, you will have to completely restart from the beginning, as there is no way to get another zombie to appear, so be extremely careful on this step. I would recommend using Jack-in-the-Boxes as well as Shell Shock. Once he has made it to the building that has a lit fireplace, he will end up crawling into one of these spawn points, and you will not see him again for the rest of the round, so you can get as many kills as you want. At this point, you should be able to have Pack-a-Punch unlocked, so I would save a zombie and get fully prepared, and get Pack-a-Punch weapons and the perks that you want. And do not end the round, as once you end the round, he comes back out immediately, so make sure you are fully prepared and set up before you end the round and get him to spawn back in. Once you are ready and set up, go ahead and start the next round, and he will crawl out of the same spot he went into on the last round. This time you will notice he has a battery in his hand. Basically, we are escorting him into the wine cellar basement, and as he goes towards that, we are going to need to get kills kind of near him so that we charge up the battery. You want to make sure before he gets to that basement that the battery is fully charged, and that when you get kills near him, you no longer see that it is charging up. Otherwise, if you do not fully charge up the battery before he gets to where he needs to stop, then you may not end up completing this and will have to restart again from the start. At the time of uploading this video, there is a glitch where the battery has a chance to not drop as well. So if you do not see the battery drop, then you'll have to fully restart once again, as you need the battery in order to complete this step. Once he has made it to the cellar, he is going to go over to the generator and die with the battery, and it will drop on the ground. You simply want to pick up the battery and place it into the generator, and the door to the right will now open. Inside this room, you can find the hilt if you are completing all of the Easter eggs through the challenge rounds. If you are in survival mode, you will find the fully completed Barbarossa sword inside of there. When going through the Easter egg on the challenge rounds, you are going to need to be successfully evac. So now, once you have the hilt, simply just go through the game normally, complete the round 9 challenge, kill the boss, and then get evacuated. If you have been defeated before you get evacuated, then you will have to go through and do all of this again, as you need to be successfully evacuated. Once you have done all of that, and you have been successfully evacuated, congratulations, you have completed the first Easter egg out of the 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is now completed, and you can now move on to Chapter 2, as we are going to be doing in this guide. Moving on to the Chapter 2 Easter egg, there is only one thing that you have to do right away on round 1, and that is to the left of Pack-a-Punch. You will see a battery. You have to run up and knife it, and then you'll be put into this little special vision. And once you have the vision activated and you have an extended field of view, then you have completed the first step and can move on to round 2. Once you are on round 2, there are going to be 9 fish that are flopping around the map. The locations are the exact same every time. You just have to run up to the flopping fish and shoot it. One was in the cafeteria where I just showed. Another is in the bed in the window to the left of Pack-a-Punch. Then another one is on the trash can in the room to the right of Pack-a-Punch. A third one is in that same room with the trash can, in the ceiling where the stairway is. Another one can be found on top of this cabinet. And another one can be found down the stairs in this room on the cabinet. Another one can be found down this hallway. Then in the room to the left of that, there is one fish flopping in one of the boxes on the ground. And then there is a fish in the ceiling as well, and that is all 9 fish locations that you have to go and shoot. Once you have shot all 9 fish, then you will have completed this step and can move on to the next round. Once you are on the next round, you want to run to the back of the ship in the outside area on the lower deck, and a fish will spawn in on the left side. You must now escort the fish until he stops moving, and he will spawn in a machine that needs a battery that you now have to go and get. There are multiple locations for the battery to spawn in. I will just run around real quick and show off all the locations that I know. If any new locations are found, I will have them in the description. The battery itself costs $3,000 and you move pretty slowly with it. So all you have to do is just go and find the battery, buy it, and then go and take it to where the fish is at and put it in the machine. Then once the battery is in the machine, you basically just need to get a lot of kills near it. It's like a soul box. And after you get so many kills at that machine, the fish will move on to another location. Keep in mind that the fish only moves if you are around him, so you do have to escort him to every single location. Once the fish reaches the second location, he is going to do the same thing, spawn in a machine. You're going to have to go and find the battery, place the battery where the fish is at, and get a bunch of kills near it. Then he is going to move from the second location to a third and final location, and you have to do the exact same thing. However, this time, when you get all the kills that you are needed, you are immediately teleported to the special area where you do the final Easter egg step. I would recommend getting Pack-a-Punch and getting set up before doing this, as when you get the kills for this, it immediately teleports you. So keep that in mind, that you don't want to finish this and get teleported away if you haven't been set up yet. Once you are inside the giant room, you are going to notice that you are on a floating platform. For this area, you basically have to parkour down to the next platform. And if you fall off, you get downed and sent back to the original platform that you started at. So if you are a solo player, you got to be really careful, as if you get down and die here, then you're pretty much done. In each area that you go to after parkouring to it, you see Strobe and you get a little bit of backstory. And then after Strobe disappears, you have to take out a bunch of zombies. Once you have taken out all the zombies, then you are able to go on to the next area. Once you move over and reach the final area, there's going to be a mini fish game that you have to play. And what this mini fish game is, there are some buckets that spawn in, and the fish goes into one of the buckets. The buckets will then move around on the screen, and you will have to shoot the bucket that the fish is in. So you have to pay attention to which bucket the fish goes into and where that bucket moves to. Once the buckets finish moving, you just shoot the bucket that has the fish in it, and it will be shown that the fish is in that bucket and spawn in some more buckets. You just keep repeating this until you have finished this mini game, and that is it for this secret area. It will teleport you back to the main map. If you fail this and shoot the wrong bucket, it is not the end of the world. However, there will be some enemies that spawn in, and you have to take out the enemies before you're able to try again. So really try and pay attention to which bucket the fish is in, otherwise this could be pretty hard. Once you have been teleported back into the map, you'll be teleported right in front of a table that has the pommel in it. Go ahead and pick up the pommel, and you have completed this Easter egg and finished Chapter 2. Now, just like Chapter 1, if you are in the challenge mode, you are going to have to finish out this map and complete all the rest of the challenge rounds, kill the boss, and successfully evacuate. Moving on to Chapter 3, the way to start this Easter egg is you are going to run into the main room and knife the battery in the machine 3 times to activate it. Now, the way they wanted you to do this next step is you're supposed to skip around and then use that battery in order to go back into the vision mode that we saw from Chapter 2. And then once you are in the vision mode, you will run around the map and look at different locations that I will show shortly and see if there are a bunch of runes on them. And once you see the code for the runes, you are supposed to take that to the doorway with all the buttons on it and input that code. However, since we know most of the codes for this, you can just directly, still on round 1, go and input the first code, so that way you don't actually have to round skip, and you could do the later steps on an earlier round. On the screen now, I have a list of the codes that we know currently. Thanks so much to Fanatic for making this neat little picture with all the codes in it. I've been using this myself as I go through and do the map's Easter egg, and it is really helpful. So once again, shout out to Fanatic. He is the homie for hooking us up with this. Now, to do this round 1 trick, you're going to have to take a look at the picture that Fanatic provided and start inputting the codes until you get the proper one. If a code that you input has done nothing, then you will have to keep clicking the buttons until you hear it reset, and then you could go ahead and try another code. There may also be more codes than what is shown. This is just the ones we know right now, so be a lookout in the description. If there are more codes, I will have them posted there. And real quickly, before I go and show inputting the code into the door with a success, I will show all the locations that I know so far of where these runes can spawn in at when you are in vision mode. So from this clip, anywhere I go and aim and shoot, that is where a code can possibly show up at for you, just in case you want to do this the legit way without trying to brute force the door. So once you brute force the code on round 1, or if you have the actual code because you went and saw it from one of the spots, and you input it correctly, you will see what was just shown on the screen. A bunch of red electricity will go over the buttons, and you will hear a success sound. And once you hear that, you can go ahead and run back into the main room, and you will see one of the bowls is lit up red, and you will know you have done the step when you see that. After you see this, then you can go ahead and round skip to round 2 or round 3 if you did it the legit way, as you can no longer complete any more steps without a round skip. Once you make it to the next round, you can go up to where you input the buttons at, and a care package will fall into the map. Open up the care package and you will get the hilt. What you want to do with the hilt is take and run it over to the main room where the red bowl is at, and you want to put it in that red bowl. Once the hilt is placed, you will see a bunch of shaking as if there is an earthquake going on, and in the spawn, a box of flares will drop. You want to go ahead and grab one of these flares. You want to use the flares and light up the bowls that are in the main room. There are 4 of them along the walls as shown. Now you can only get 2 flares at a time, so after you throw 2 flares, you want to go ahead and go and pick 2 more back up and light up more bowls. After lighting up the 4 spots in the middle room, you want to go to the left of spawn and light up the 1 bowl on the ground that I did. And the rocks in the wall right there will move down, and you could pick up a rune that is in them. Go ahead and take this rune to the wall that you input codes on and place it in, and it will make the buttons to input codes in available to press again. What you are now going to do is either use the code sheet to brute force another code, or you can go and use the vision and check the spots to see the code for yourself, and then you want to input the next code. Once you input the next code, you'll get the same success sound, and you will see the red electricity across the buttons again. And this time when you run into the main room, you will see a different bowl is now lit up red. Just like last time, you can now round skip, and at the beginning of the next round, a care package will now go back to the same spot we got one at before. This time when you open it, you will get the pommel. You want to pick up the pommel and then go and place it in the bowl that was just lit up red from the last time. Now for this next step, if you have done everything right on the earlier rounds and used the brute force method, you should have gotten a challenge round on wave 3, and then after completing that, immediately on wave 4 you can go and do the next step, as it is really hard to do that step during a challenge round, so I wouldn't recommend trying it during round 3. Now what this step is the 4 pads that are around the outskirts of this map will be able to be stood on, and then when you stand on them, they sink into the ground. All you have to do for this step is go and stand on it so it is pushed into the ground, and then you have to wait on it for a little bit of time while getting zombie kills. This step can be really difficult if you are on round 5 when the wustlings are spawned in, so that is why I recommend the brute force method for the codes, as you will be able to get to this on round 4, and it is a lot easier to do this on round 4 without wustlings coming at you, because if you or anybody else stands off the pads, then I am pretty sure it resets and you have to go back on it and stand on it for the time again and get a bunch more zombie kills. Each player in your lobby will have to stand on a different pressure pad, so keep that in mind. I would recommend taking in insta kills as well as a recharge meter consumable, And for your specialty, I would recommend using Shell Shock or Free Fire mode for this, as those are the two most useful, I feel. Once you have stood on it for a certain period of time and gotten a bunch of kills while standing on it, you will hear the success sound that you have heard from inputting codes. And also, if you are on the pressure pad that is in the spawn area, you can look through the doorway heading into the main room and start to see that there is blood coming out of the mouths. And when you see that, that is when you know this step has been completed. After you hear or see it has been completed, you can go ahead and run into the main area, and the other rune will be on the floor in the blood. Go ahead and pick that up. Next, we are going to take that rune and place it in the input door, just like we did with the other one. And now we are going to input one last code. You can either use the brute force sheet, or you can go ahead and try and find it around the map and input it. Once you have input the last code, the last bull will be lit up red, and then you could go ahead and skip to the next round. And just like before, when you skip to the next round, there will be another care package that falls down. This time the care package will have the blade piece. Go ahead and pick that up and bring it into the main room. And once you place the blade piece in the last bull, you will now be able to fully craft the Sword of Barbarossa. Once the cool animation of the sword being put together is finished, you can go ahead and pick that up, and you have finished this map's Easter egg. Just like before, if you are doing the challenge version, you are going to have to finish out the rounds doing the challenges and beat the boss at the end while also successfully evacuating. And if this is the challenge version where you have gone and done 1, 2, and 3 in a row, you will now see the ending cutscene after you have evacuated. If you guys end up needing help for anything else in this map, let me know and I can make a guide on it. This will wrap up the Tortured Paths Complete Easter Egg Guide from chapters 1, 2, and 3. I hope this guide helped out you guys in any way possible. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it, as this took me a long time to make and edit, and it would be greatly appreciated. As well as if you want to see more content and guides like this, hit the subscribe button, as I will be posting a lot of zombies gameplay going forward, and also trying to stay on top of getting guides up for the latest and the best Easter eggs and challenges that come out for zombies. Anyways, I'm going to end this off here. Let me know in the comments if you guys have successfully completed this map and if this guide was helpful for you guys, as well as what your thoughts were on this Easter egg. Take care, guys, and as always, I am the WalkthroughKing, and I hope to see you guys at the next one.